937-124-618-8255. Faithful, good evening.
Good evening, Faithful.
Good evening, Sandra. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very fine, thanks. Ricardo, you have the newly minted president of the Norman Madi last call last night. I like the energy. I like the energy that was given off. It sounds very positive, as if to say it mean well, and that I'm expecting good things come from. Well, not that good thing was not coming, but good thing continue coming from Norman Madi last call.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the given out. This seems like it mean well for Jamaica and mean well for the last call and for the Caribbean. I think if we can't understand, we have far way to go. Yesterday in the Parliament, what is your take on the Auditor General remain and the Integrity Commission, one way or either?
Sanjay, you want to take that first?
Yeah, go ahead, Ricardo. You got that one.
Right. So I here's the thing. And let me start by what I saw in the Gleaner this morning, because my very good friend Danielle Archer is quoted as saying that it is a step towards tyranny, I think is what it said. She was quoted as saying, and I have never seen such hyperbolic and inflammatory language. And I wondered to myself, what exactly about that move would signal a step towards tyranny? And you have to ask yourself if similarly situated democratic countries who do not have an Auditor General sitting on their Integrity Commission are existing under a tyrannical regime. I don't think any reasonable person could say that. So I think I'd like to start by saying we should lower the hyperbole and how we inflame passions with language. I don't think that was necessary. As to whether the Auditor General should or should not sit on the commission, I can find, or I see no great difficulty in removing her from the commission. I don't even think we need 5 commissioners, if I'm to be very honest with you. I think 3 perhaps would be sufficient. I'm not sure why we have 5. 3 would be sufficient in my view. Perhaps a retired judge, somebody trained in security, and perhaps somebody trained in finance who has financial expertise. I think that would be sufficient. So I don't feel passionately one way or the other is what I'm trying to say about the removal or the recommendation to remove. But I certainly do not think if the Auditor General is removed, then that is a step towards, and it would constitute a retrograde step, because the powers of the Auditor General outside of being a commissioner are well codified and secured in the Constitution. She retains all the constitutional protections of the office. And I'd also like to say the fact that we've done something one way for 60 plus years is not in itself an argument to continuing to do it that way. And I'd also want to say that the fact that a recommendation is made does not by itself mean the Parliament will accept it.
Yes.
Right? This is a parliamentary committee set up to review, and they're going to make a recommendation. The House of Representatives sitting as a whole may reject it. The Senate may reject it. So I think where I am at is that we probably should just relax, just take a breather, right? Before we inflame passions unnecessarily. Yeah. And may I also remind you, that initially quite a lot of people were actually saying that the Auditor General ought to be removed. In fact, I was reminded by Siobhan Campbell that the former chairman of the Integrity Commission, Justice Seymour Panton, actually took the Gleaner to task, because the Gleaner's position, as I recall it, was that she ought to be removed. Yes. Somewhere along the line, that changed and views, I suppose, evolved. And now everybody seems to think it's a terrible idea. And if we do it, it's a step towards tyranny. Now,
if I can just add to it, Ricardo, and I agree with you totally. let's weigh the pros and the cons, because the Auditor General audits government agencies, including the Integrity Commission itself. And critics argue that serving on the commission while auditing it could create the appearance of a conflict, even if no actual basis or there's no actual basis for any biases, right? But removing the Auditor General reinforces the principle of institutional separation, where auditors do not participate in decision-making within the body they review. And that is part of what government member Everett Warmington, he has been very consistent on that. Yeah. So the commission can appoint other independent experts to provide technical oversight and financial acumen, and ensuring that there is, diversity in governance perspectives. But there is, it's neither here nor there to me, to be very honest, because you can look at the other side. The Auditor General's presence ensures strong, independent technical oversight and continuity in auditing standards. Yeah. And the public may perceive this move as an attempt to weaken anti-corruption safeguards. And I think that is the fear. And I think Danielle Archer went a little bit overboard, yeah, in making that statement to the Gleaner in that article this morning. But I agree. Let's relax. It's just a suggestion put forward by a committee. The Parliament doesn't have to accept it. The Parliament can make tweaks to it. Let's flesh it out.
And just to be clear, the Auditor General does not, as it is now, audit the Integrity Commission.
Right.
But the argument is that she ought to.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Sanjay, tell me how if the Auditor General move from the Integrity Commission, how is that weaken the Integrity Commission? I mean, that I'm trying to figure out.
Which is why I said the perception, yeah, and I think we have become so fearful in this country about corruption because of years of corrupt activity that we have seen, that if we make steps to make changes to these anti-corruption body, it is seen sometimes as weakening the body, which is false. We need to give the committee that chance to provide that report to the Parliament, and the Parliament can flesh it out.
And I would also want to hear stronger arguments. I think Jeanette Calder, who was also quoted in the Gleaner's article, was far more nuanced and reasoned in her commentary. I'd want to hear more arguments as to why people think it would weaken it, Faithful, because I haven't heard very except to tell me, that it's going to be tyrannical or no. That's not an argument. You're just trying to scare me into agreeing with you. Mm-hmm. I would want to hear more reasoned arguments. And I think Jeanette Calder started to put forward those arguments. But yeah, certainly when you come to me with words like tyrannical, my ears immediately shut, because I think to myself, no, please, you're not really serious.
Believe me, I'm not pretending. I am puzzled to some of the words that I'm here using. I was listening to a talk show this morning, and it was just the same language that the way things are going seem like we are in the wars, we are trying to weaken institutions. And in my mind, believe me, I am not the brightest guy around town. And in my mind, that's we lament every day, that where's the Integrity Commission is the Parliament that there to reform it, to straighten it, to do what they want to do. So they can make a stand with what they want. But I don't know. I'm trying to work out in my mind where this stand is taken from. And it seems to me some person who have ink feel to themselves, if things do not go the way that they feel that they should go, it is judgment.
Yeah, I was asked to find the article. It was a letter to the editor by Justice Seymour Panton, written on August 19, 2019. And in relevant part, I'll just read what he said about the Gleaner. He says, over the past several months, notwithstanding Gleaner writings to the contrary, I, along with the other commissioners, have had the opportunity and privilege of attending to the duties imposed on the commissioners by the Integrity Commission Act. There is no doubt in my mind that the contribution of the Auditor General has been of great value and importance to the Commission, and so it should remain. Then he goes on to say, I trust that the Parliament which represents the people, will accept my reasoning on the matter. And here's what he says. The agitation by the Gleaner for the removal of the Auditor General should cease. So clearly in 2019, Justice Seymour Panton had formed the view that the Gleaner supported the removal of the Auditor General. And I heard Donna Scott Motley in the Oversight Committee, the Joint Select Committee meeting, saying that she also thought the Auditor General should be removed. I'm not sure what changed, why suddenly everybody thinks it's a terrible idea, but there was at the time a consensus, certainly outside of the commission, that it was probably not the best fit. Something changed. I'm not sure what.
Billy, let me tell you what I think changed. I think we in Jamaica, we sometimes become too hypocritical. I think it's a political season we are in, and people are going to the lowest part. I don't know. Believe me, I'm not pretending. I'm just sometimes wonder, you know. I'm most people.
You know what? Here's my fear, Faithful. Here's my fear. I fear that when we use words like tyranny, and I've seen UWI professors writing in the Gleaner who use words like authoritarianism, yeah?
Yeah.
I fear that when we use those words and we think we're defending institutions, what we actually do is to lessen public trust.
Right.
Driving fear.
Absolutely.
Driving fear.
Because we feed a certain cynicism that there is always some negative, corrupt motive. I think that does a lot to lessen public confidence. And when I say public confidence, I know people don't like hearing it, but the parliament and the cabinet are also part of the governance arrangements. And we cannot continue to live in a society where we simply write off these important features and arms of the state by saying because politicians make them up, they are inherently corrupt. We cannot continue to do that.
Because that is the perception, and they know they will get a forward if the
right, because the public already doesn't trust precisely.
The process and and they keep right. Stefan, they said the bill that was supposed to pass the parliamentary job report. They think that the parliament is supposed to abide by. For a long time, I hear Ms. Calder and all them say they need to get the report out before election. The election is coming. Now they put the report out, everybody have a problem with it.
No.
Because both journalists, both journalists and say we need to have the job report for the parliament before election comes. Election is coming up. And I said, when I heard it, I said, Mr. I bet you if that ever come out, everybody gonna have a problem with it.
Yeah, I think the assumption, as one of my favorite authors, Chimamanda, said, the assumption of good faith is dead. People don't give the benefit of the doubt anymore. There's just deep cynicism and distrust. And I don't know that a democracy can continue that way. Appreciate the call, Faithful.
Ricardo, before we go to the next caller, just listening, I wonder also if the Integrity Commission has really proven its worth. And we let's look at it, because the Integrity Commission was meant to be a stronger unified body than what we had before, which is merely the Office of the Contractor General. And it has so far, in my mind, failed to match the visibility, the assertiveness, and the public impact of the old Contractor General. But is it a fault of the Integrity Commission or the Act itself, where that common gag clause that is implemented is causing the problem that we're seeing? Because the Commission communicates, the Contractor General would have communicated with the public more openly. We're not seeing that with the Integrity Commission, and they claim it's because of the gag clause that exists. But we really have to question now, when we came up with this Integrity Commission and the idea of it, is it really working how we expected it to work? Because as far as I'm seeing, it's not. And the need for a review is also important.
Which is what is happening now.
Yeah.
But if you listen to some of the commentary, you almost think we shouldn't adjust anything. Just leave it as it is.
We have to break it apart, and we have to break it apart. And if anyone would come and say that the Integrity Commission is being as impactful as it should, I would say that's a lie.
Papa Nana,
Yes, sir. Good evening to you both.
how are you?
What you do?
Not bad at all, my son. Sanjay, one day you're going to know me, man.
I hear you.
And
Mommy
you
said she need to know who is this Papa Nana. The last time you
alright.
called, she said, I need to know who is that. You need to go and identify yourself to her.
You don't worry yourself. Your mama will soon tell you.
She listening right now.
He's all right. He's quite all right. I won't have to tell you the right time now. But listen to me. I think you are getting better and better every day, you both people. But
Thank you, Papa
as
Nana.
usual, I'm not that bright, and I would need you people to guide me along the way. And I want to say something, and it may not go down well, but I want to ask you a simple question. If you want to answer, you will answer. Where else in the world do you think that put away from the American, would there anybody else put away from the American would vote for a man like Trump? And where else in the world do you believe put away from a Jamaican would have voted for Mark Bolin? I don't think you should answer it. Or you want
No, I can. Let me take the first question. Because I don't know what the Jamaican people will do regarding Mark Golding. But I happen to believe, Papa Nana, that Donald Trump would win an election in Jamaica. I happen to believe that. And I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. Jamaicans have taken an anti-immigrant stance, largely. When you think about the Haitians, we say send them back. Trump says send them back too. Jamaicans are conservative as it relates to their religious outlook. Donald Trump purports to be conservative in his religious outlook.
Yep.
Jamaicans are largely anti-abortion, so is Donald Trump. Jamaicans are largely anti-same-sex rights, so is Donald Trump. Jamaicans believe in, I think, broadly speaking, sound fiscal management and discipline. So does Donald Trump, or so he says. So he says. So if I, Jamaicans believe in a strong, robust security response to crime and defense issues. So if I go down the list in Papa and I start to tick the boxes,
Yeah, man.
I don't know. Trump might win in a landslide.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
So the question, hold on. So the question you need to ask now, Papa Nana, the values that Trump put forward, are those the same values of a Mark Golding?
Yes.
You think so?
You think so?
You think so?
Man can see that.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, I am telling you. And let me tell you something. It's only two criteria you have to meet with to join the PNP, and let's speak about it today.
What are those?
You must either have a freeness mentality, or you cannot read and write. And I don't want you to tell me now, because there's a lot of caller maybe on the line. I want you to tell me the illiteracy rate of the American and the illiteracy rate of the Jamaican. And then you will see what I am trying to tell you about. All you have to do to join the PNP, freeness mentality.
I don't think so. No, Papa Nana.
And you must be able not to read and write.
No, Papa Nana. No, man.
Control you.
I don't think
Not so bad. No,
I don't think
not
so.
so bad.
No, man. You have good, I dare say, good comrades who are well knowledgeable and do their proper reading.
Sanjay.
Ricardo.
That's Ricardo.
Ricardo,
Yeah.
you are making a mistake. It's not PNP. It's the rise. It's two opposition and the government fighting.
Oh, I see. Oh.
You have the rise and the PNP.
Oh.
The
So
rise are, the PNP are decent people who use.
so you're talking about the Rise faction.
The rise is the problem.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You didn't know that.
Well, you're telling me. I don't know PNP business as well as
The
you.
rise is the problem, and I told them when Mark Golding was coming. A matter of fact, he's so intelligent and he's so poor that not even the house that he lives in belonging to him. He not have nothing. Poor thing. He not have nothing. God Almighty.
Good evening.
Goodbye, Papa Nana. Goodbye.
God
You're not putting in no trouble.
God bless you.
All the best.
Them to sell him out.
It's Errol, good evening. Errol? No, not hearing Errol. 630-9371-4 618-8255. We're taking your calls. Cleveland, good evening.
Yes, good evening to you both.
Good evening.
Hey, Cleveland, how you do?
Well, I'm going to tell you, you can have some high-class discussion
What do you mean?
on the program.
What's up?
Trust me.
What do you mean?
Can't keep up with them people big chat at all.
What kind of big chat, Cleveland?
Anyhow, I just want to congratulate one of my sons
Okay.
from the area, Courtney.
Yes.
Handle himself quite well, man.
Oh, this was Courtney Smith we had earlier.
Yes, man.
Oh, he's
yes.
from your area?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
No, man.
Yes, man. I'm proud of him.
Yes. Quite knowledgeable. He was quite knowledgeable.
Him know it.
He was quite
Yes,
knowledgeable.
yes.
My listening program, you know.
Okay.
Call him afterwards.
Nice. Well, I do have a phone number for him, you know, but it's just
Oh.
we buck up. When we buck up, you know,
Yeah, he was quite knowledgeable.
Yeah, man, he is. What's the problem, sir, if the Auditor General should take off of the IC Commission? What was it? Is it just something it would be done illegally? I
No.
know Mr. Golin is going about it.
Can't be legal. Parliament
Illegal.
can do that. It's not
Yeah.
illegal.
But you don't have to be there, or the Auditor General don't have to be.
I want to be educated. I want somebody to make the case to me, and perhaps I'll give my friend Jeanette Calder a call. Just have a chat with her for her to spell it out for me. I don't, on the face of it, see what the issue is.
Because my thing is, Cleveland, even let's say she's there in an advisory capacity, yeah? To provide necessary information to the commission. The commission can always
the same referral system that exists
about to say.
with the FID and
Yes.
TAJ can exist with the office of the Auditor General.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they can sign an MOU with the Auditor General's office for that assistance.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I honestly don't know, Cleveland. That's why I say I don't feel strongly one way or the other. But on the face of it, I don't see I don't see tyranny. Let me put it that way.
Let me tell you something. I hear you saying it, you know, because we're weak in all of these places. If government should change, we're going to just jump and believe anything coming from out of these places.
Here's part of the problem also, Cleveland. For a very long time, and we said it earlier, corruption in this country was deep-rooted. Yeah? And what we have been trying to do is add laws upon top of laws to ensure that we are nabbing the individuals who are corrupt and ensuring that the system catch those individuals. But what now happens? The system becomes so cumbersome that we want to procure a laptop or something else for a ministry. It's a long process.
Yes.
And I agree. Dennis Strong said it rightly on several occasions. We need to simplify the process.
Of course.
And maybe this look at the Integrity Commission, as I said earlier, it is needed because I don't think the Integrity Commission is as effective as it can be.
Not at all, sir. None of these places, all of them going to just break down slowly but surely, because from the PMP, you don't have them people in there to give them news. Something wrong with these places. You see? Aside them have all of them people itch up in these places, and them expect we must bind to everything they put out there about people who they don't support.
There's a problem that I have with the opposition, and I've said it before. Yes, you're there as the watchdog of the government.
Yes.
But when you burn the house down, everything you oppose, when you burn the house down, and then when you become the owner of the house, what's going to happen? Where you going to build? What are you going to build on?
I don't know.
Huh?
And that lady, Miss Calder, as a troublemaker as far as me.
No. I won't go there, though.
From the moment she wrote that report, and up to this day, she don't apologize about it.
To be fair to Jeanette, and Jeanette is someone that I have known because of radio, and I've spoken to her off air. She's quite knowledgeable about the things that she speaks on. And Jeanette is also gracious in apologizing if at any point she gets it wrong. Yeah? But some of her points are valid, you know? I wouldn't say that she's a troublemaker. That's going a little bit too far.
No, so I'm not take back that one, the card. That's what I see. Anyhow. Take care of yourself.
No, all right, Cleveland.
All right, Cleveland.
Errol, good evening.
Bless up, Sandy.
What you do?
And Ricardo.
Good evening, Errol.
Wow. Let me tell you. The PMP party no da again, you know. PMP party must have come in at the 2019, when them invaded, the rise them invaded and liquid Peter Philip. You understand?
Me and see Matt Golden come in or Matt Golden say bringing the thing together and time come. What you talk about?
I just chatting my chat, man. I rise united, I go on and no, man. But when me I say still, you know, man, everything the government do, them try to money down. That's what you have to say. So when them go in, whatever go build pan. Because they don't money on everything, you know. You understand?
Yes.
No, that thing again. I think my MP could have come in a meeting, big public meeting, and I come tell about him how cook chicken back the way. Eh? At least them this the people in a man.
Who said them all cook chicken back in somebody?
You know, your mother can say, come starting Friday. We're going to on the corner cook chicken back and curry chicken back and chicken and rice. Anybody hear that?
Oh no, I never hear that. When said that?
You hear that one there, so.
When them have them motorcade ready, your brother and them have them meet round at the office, so them McGregor replay back and you will find it.
I'm looking forward to see somebody got it.
We're going to on the corner, cook chicken back, curry chicken back and chicken and rice and play domino. At least them this the people and the people them back and them like trying to go PP truck.
Oh, I know. I didn't hear that, Errol.
I come cheap blind man say, well, I come become start the country all over again, you know. And see, I just probably never put themselves in it. Everywhere they're going to bring them last hope on themselves. See the thing now you call him, you know, spokesman, because spokesman me call him, because he feels like he has stroke. Don't go and trouble him on them about jail. A last suit, I come at him again, you know. But let me tell you, man, they could have fly high, fly low, cause anyway, you see them John Crowd, you know, and the whole 14 Paris, some have behind them, you know.
I rather doubt that, Errol.
You tell you, Ricardo, anyway, man, every that mean Mandigo Bay come, Westmoreland come, St. John's come, everywhere come, and so them John Crowd, and you don't do that. And so go in the place to the people, and go, we don't start campaigning yet, you know.
One wait, pan.
All we see it line up and on, so you know, we're going to have to put on the green blocks and step out.
Okay. All right.
All right, sir.
Yes, man. 630-9371-4, 618-8255. Mark, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Sanjay and Ricardo.
Yes, man. Good evening, Mark.
Yeah, man. Just 3 points.
Yeah, Mark.
All right. So, since the crime rate is coming down from the other day, something is occupying my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember the statement that Peter Bunting had made when he was security minister.
Which one?
About the effort of the government after a year and a half and all the effort of the police force. Him now come to the conclusion that the effort
divine
of the
intervention
by itself cannot bring down the crime rate.
Yes.
It's going to need a divine intervention.
Yes, I recall.
Now, since the crime rate is coming down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then who is that divine intervention?
You say, how is it?
No, who is that divine intervention? Because if you should believe him, the only thing that can bring down crime rate is divine intervention. The fact that crime is coming down now, who is that divine intervention? To my mind, I would believe that is the one bro God. Because if you to believe him. so crime is coming down by his standard is the only way crime can come down in Jamaica.
Yes.
Then if it's coming down under this administration with Andrew Holness being the Prime Minister, then to me, if you should believe him, because he's a bright man, then Andrew Holness must be the divine intervention.
Or God particularly favors Andrew's prayer. Maybe that.
And then now, would you want to return the country to someone like that?
Why? That's for the Jamaican people to decide.
All right. The next thing is that all of the things that we have always wanted for this country in terms of where the country is going, right? We have seen a country that is stable. We have seen crime is coming down. We have seen the low employment. We have seen all of those good things that can put us in a better position going forward, right? And I repeatedly hear the opposition says that give us power so we can take us in a different direction. So what that mean? Because if all the things that we have wanted is pointing in the right direction and they want to take us in a different direction, what that mean? Think about it. Right? The next thing, the next point is that just recently they have a demonstration, right, down in Ulaba, and he was talking about listen to the other side, right, because they will try to deceive you, right? They will try to make you lower than what you is. So Margot is saying to us that we are already low as a people, and they only will make us lower. So that is only because if I understand the English, then if you say they will make you lower, that means you see us as already low as a people. And this is a white man talking. So me now having a problem and a challenge with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how other persons read it, but as far as I'm concerned, if he's going to say they will make us lower, that means that he already think that we are low. How else to read it? I don't know. Maybe you have a different interpretation, and maybe I'm not that smart. But as far as I'm concerned, you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Maybe one is for Mark Golding himself to explain.
Well, so that's crazy. All right, it's just start provoking. It's crazy though.
No, you have a point though. You have a point. And I don't know what was in the mind of Mark Golding when he made that statement. Part of the challenge that I have, caller, is, and I've said it time and time again, I don't see the strategy of the People's National Party. It's like you're throwing things at the wind and you're hoping that something will stick. That is the challenge that I'm having. And if you're saying that you are government in waiting, or you are an alternate government to the one that is in power, you therefore have to show the people why they must elect the People's National Party. And telling people that time come, it cannot be enough. Yeah? I need to know if I am going to the polls to vote, why is it that I should choose the People's National Party over the Jamaica Labour Party? The Jamaica Labour Party is saying, continue on what we're doing. These are the things that we're doing. The PNP now has a responsibility to say, let us change course. These are the things that we will do if we form government. And I'm not seeing that. You're just throwing things at the wind. So you start,
yes.
Go ahead.
Their strategy, to me, is the fact that they want to bring about something that aggrieves the people so much that they voted by default. Not to say what they can do better, hoping that something that can bring the government down so the people and them power just by default. Right? So it's not anything superior to what is happening. And as far as I'm concerned, when I look at their utterances and so forth, I remember they were on a campaign and Mark Golding says that, yes, comrade, we have a little cascas, we have a little thing, but just hold it down, man, and make we win the election. And after we win, then we can go back to deal with nothing. What that mean? And if you notice, he have never one time said, I love you. And it's difficult for him to say because more and more he talk, it's telling something about Mark Golding in terms of who he is and when he think about us as a people. If you listen to him carefully, all the things that he says, right, can point back right onto him. When he went overseas and he was talking about the fact that, what it was again, where the country were, and the fact that it just slipped me just now. It just slipped me just now. But I will leave that until next time I remember.
All right, my brother.
Most of the time I realize that they will try to say something to say that the JLP is doing this when in in other words, they are the one who's actually have that to be done. But come out front to say that this is what they are doing. And then later, I just remember when we was talking about we have to be careful about what it is that we say that we'll do, because of be careful, the JLP will take it to say that they are the one who implement, bring it on board. And then it will be difficult for them to know, change the narrative to say that they are the one who had started it. And then you see what happened in the budget debate when policies that the government, Andrew Holness had mentioned from 2016, they bring it back, leaving out the environment out of it. All the 5 E's that Andrew had mentioned, economy, the infrastructure and so forth, and they use back everything except the economy, right?
All right, Colin.
And this is one of the things that I notice about them. It's crazy. Anyhow, later.
All right, Mark.
All the best.
I just listened to the clip.
Yes, I was just about to go.
Steve McGregor.
Yeah, go ahead.
So McGregor says that he's going to have something called Runabout Fridays, and that they're going to gather on, I think he said 7 corners, and they're going to cook some poor people food. And yes, he did say chicken back. Was among
my mother was
would be on the
to send the video recorder. I don't know how she find that video so quickly to send when Errol made mention.
We appreciate our fact checkers. And listeners, some news coming from the international scene. Israel has launched what they're calling preemptive strikes against Iran. They have struck Iran's nuclear sites, or sites that they believe Iran has, developing nuclear technology. President Donald Trump, of course, had announced that he was scaling back U.S. presence, certainly in Iraq. And he had said that he expected the situation in the Middle East to deteriorate. Well, now Israel has struck Iran, and Israel says it's bracing for retaliation from Iran. So we'll continue to watch that. Agent, good evening.
Good evening, Sanjay and Siobhan.
Ricardo.
I'm listening to the argument about the Select Committee reviewing the Integrity Commission Act, and the issue of the Auditor General. What is the purpose of the Auditor General, as generally speaking? What's the purpose of that office?
To audit public bodies, audit public finances. Yes.
Right. Is the Integrity Commission a public body?
I don't want to answer that question in the strict legal sense.
All right.
The truth is that I'm not sure.
It's a commission of parliament. Put it that way.
Yeah. So it's not a public body then. I would suspect it's a public body.
I hesitate to answer that.
In the strictest legal sense, I would say no. But I don't want to get too legal.
All right. So let's move on from that. I think the appropriate question to ask is not whether the Auditor General should be on the Integrity Commission, but is whether the Integrity Commission is supposed to audit. The Auditor General is supposed to audit the Integrity Commission. If the Department of the Auditor General is charged with auditing the Integrity Commission, how can the Auditor General audit herself?
So yes, the Integrity Commission is considered a public body. Yes, it's a body corporate. The access shall be considered a body corporate for the purposes of the interpretation.
Where you didn't answer in the affirmative, I didn't push you on it because I did do the research.
Yeah, man. I wanted to be clear, certain before I.
I wanted to be clear too.
But follow me. Mm-hmm. Since that is so, and we agree that it's a public body.
Yes.
It is the Auditor General's Department is tasked with responsibility to audit the Integrity Commission.
Yes, that would follow.
How then can the Auditor General audit his or herself?
Which is why they have indicated in cases like
that's why Ms. Calder, the other people who are talking this nonsense are not reasoning, and they're taking Jamaican people for fool. We keep our discourse at a level that is just mind-boggling. We have to raise the discourse, man. Those who are in that have the bully pulpit and those have the bigger voice have to teach us. I have, the problem I have with the media. We are scared of questioning and holding the judiciary to the same standard that we hold the other branches of government to. Mm-hmm. You see the little girl that was killed and with the nation buried her at I think it's Sunday gone, in Saturday gone in St. Catherine. Mm-hmm. I would like to know, I understand from media reports that gentleman who is alleged to have done the killing has 2 or 3 other infringements against him that is related to abuse of children. Which judge grant bail for him?
I had a conversation with a senior law enforcement official who explained something to me that I found quite surprising, and I need to remember to follow up because I want to have a discussion on it. Apparently in Jamaica, you have to commit the same offense repeatedly. I think he said 3 or 4 times. Don't quote me on that, but certainly more than once or more than twice before you can be considered a repeat offender under Jamaican law. And I wanted to have a further discussion to understand why that is, and what gap.
That's great, Ricardo. But I'd like you to check how much infringement.
Yeah, I recall it was twice. I recall the reporting was that it was.
This last one wasn't the second one. It was.
This was the third. Yes, allegedly. This was the alleged third one.
Before that,
right?
So who can just give a man like this bail? And we're not dragging the judges across the pole. We seem to believe that they are above the fray, and we do not hold them. Man. Just hold on, make the point. I do not think that they are one arm of government, right? In terms of the strict sense of our democracy, right? They must be held accountable. They must be held at the same level of scrutiny as we hold the other 2 arms of government with. And I am not getting that from the 4th estate in Jamaica, which is the media.
So I'm saying I don't think that's fair to say the judges have not been called out, let me use that term, on the grant of bail. That's a long-standing complaint, and people make arguments. You see, the insulation of the judiciary, makes it such that you and I can talk and talk and talk and talk, but for obvious reasons, there is nothing we can do to interfere with the exercise of judicial power. And there's very little the parliament can do. That's just, as you rightly said.
That's the era that we need to review as well then.
I would be slow. Yeah, I would be slow because
I'm sure you would be.
No, the judiciary is independent for a reason.
Should be.
Yes.
Should be independent.
My difficulty is that sometimes I don't know where the balance should be struck, and that is my challenge, right? I struggle with some of it. Like the matters of security, I tell you, I was very surprised that the judges found that Jamaica's crime problem does not constitute. I was very, very surprised by that ruling.
And exactly. And I don't hear an outrage from the 4th estate on it. The 4th estate must play its role. Put the judiciary under pressure. They cannot make a ruling like that. That don't make sense. We're killing more than 1,000 Jamaicans a year for so many years.
I would also say,
it's not an emergency.
Right, but I would also say, remember, there's an appeal process. So a lower court makes a ruling, you disagree with it, you take it higher. So
take it higher.
I want to be cautious about when we say pressure them and that kind of a thing, because the independence is important.
Let me just add one thing before you come in, because I really think that a balanced approach is needed. One that, of course, as Ricardo indicates, preserves the judicial independence. But we want to push for and encourage greater transparency. And to be fair, the Chief Justice spoke about it, having more courts being open, recordings, etc., so that people can know what is taking place within the judicial system. So the balance has to be struck. We have to be very careful. And as Ricardo also indicated, you have a higher court that you can go to if you don't agree with the ruling of one court, you can take it higher in some instances.
Of course. Okay. Because let me just say one thing. Because those who are cynical, Dana Sanjay, will say that one kind of thinking, one ideology permeates at all levels of the judiciary. That's another problem. That they don't think there's enough independence of thought among the judges, that they all think one way. So that's another problem, because I've heard that argument.
And which is why with the cartel case, many individuals have said, thank God for the Privy Council, because if it wasn't for the Privy Council, the ruling would not have happened. That's an argument that you hear outside.
Let me make the last point. I know maybe there's somebody wants to come in. When a lower court makes a ruling and it is overturned by a higher court, would it be fair to say the lower court was contravening the Constitution?
No.
If, and let me ask another question. If based on the Constitution, if an issue which is an opinion in the Constitution has never been tested, is it law?
Wait, ask the question again. If an issue,
if a issue or a constitutional position has never been tested in the court, is it law or it's an opinion?
It would be an opinion. Yeah, you'd have a different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'd have a different interpretation, right?
Only when it is tested in the court and the court has come down on it, that's when it becomes law.
Yeah, the settled position.
If the Prime Minister takes
if it's in the Constitution and it's a constitutional provision.
No, man, he's saying if there's a difference of opinion, right? On how to interpret it.
At that point, it is only when you see laws are established on case history. Only when it is tested in the court. That it becomes
settled law. Right.
Yes, that's true.
I hear them knocking the Prime Minister. He used
states of emergency,
forward-dated letters for the senators. You remember that?
Yes.
Contravening the Constitution. I am saying, it was tested and it was proven to be wrong.
Mind you, I disagree with that rule. I should tell you,
many lawyers disagree.
I strongly disagree. I thought that Justice Seymour Panton, who I believe wrote that, was dead wrong. I strongly disagreed with it.
Because some individuals have said, just as how the Prime Minister can recommend to the Governor General to select senators, the provision is there for him to also recommend that they not serve as senators. But
the bigger point I'm making is that if the Prime Minister, if the court rules on it, and the Prime Minister does it a second time, the court rule and say it is wrong. Let's accept that. If the Prime Minister does it a second time, that's when he's contravening the Constitution and the rule of law.
And
he's not doing it before that.
I say something.
I'm asking you guys, the fourth estate. When these matters come up, and you hear people come on and say, well, the Prime Minister is doing this and the government is doing that. Whichever government, let's remind them that these matters are not law. They are merely opinions until a court has
I will say this. I have said that I don't like this whole business of how we keep score, because in more developed democracies, it's par the course almost to take an administration to court to test whether they are going too far. So I agree with you that we sort of get ourselves excited and we say, oh, you lost that. But I think we won't know how to interpret, especially where the Charter of Rights is concerned, because it is so new. We won't know the outer limits until we test them. Yes.
And it is only at that point that the Parliament can now say, we need to make changes to this aspect of the
So if the judges issue a ruling, the country can then say, no, that's not what we meant. That's not what we intended.
Remember this. Agent asked you guys to research this and make it public. What constitutes the minimis rule in the law? And I understand there's a basic rule of thumb in the law that says he who alleges must prove.
Yes.
You know why I bring that up? I bring it up because I wanted to talk about it some time and I never get a chance. You guys was beating up on Mr. Wright from Westmoreland. The man has no right to incriminate himself. If you guys are accusing him of doing what we say he did, we are the ones that must prove it, not him. The basic rule
well, I have a slightly different. I have a different opinion on that, just because of the office. But we're out of time. But I hear you. You should call back, agent. I enjoyed the discussion with you. You should call back so we can have further discussions about these issues. But we're out of time, my brother.
There's a higher level of scrutiny that is placed on certain offices.
All right, that's all the time we have. Dana Davy, thank you so much. I like that outfit. I like it.